Hello, everyone. For those who just logged on, my name is Dominique, and I am the Investor Relations Manager here at Greenleaf. I have the rest of the Greenleaf team here with us today, Managing Partner Andrew Ziffer, and helping us drive this live stream, we have Natalie King. Today, we will be discussing the Zaxby's opportunity located in Kennesaw, Georgia. But first and foremost, like I said, Greenleaf hosts weekly live streams and private connect events every Thursday afternoon with a new topic every week that highlights a portion of our business. Private events being more interactive, while live streams are open to the public. So before we dive in here, we want to provide a quick overview of what to expect this afternoon. We just ran through rules of engagement, and then we will start off with a Zaxby's founder video that explains a little bit more of the history of Zaxby's. We'll dive into the purchase and specifically the agreement that we do have with Zaxby's and the operator. We'll talk about the Zaxby's opportunity as a whole. And then as always, we will break out into that Q&A session at the end. So before we begin, this is a friendly reminder that you do have the option to change your presentation view. Feel free to switch your attendee presentation to speaker spotlight, or you can click and drag to make the presentation of our panelists bigger or smaller. There will be a Q&A portion at the very end, and you can use the Q&A feature located at the bottom of your screen to submit any questions you may have. You may do so throughout the duration of the broadcast. You do not need to wait until the end. This is a friendly reminder that this live stream is recorded and will be shared with you via email by the end of the week this week. Well, without further ado, I will pass it over to our hosts, Andrew Ziffer and Natalie King.
Thanks, Dominique.
Thanks, Dominique.
Okay, I'm going to date myself a bit here, Andrew. I'm probably going to regret it. But myself, I've been going to Zaxby's since I found it in college in 2000. And this was before the Chick-fil-A hype. I mean, Zaxby's the place that you go for chicken. For those of you who maybe aren't as familiar with the brand, we do have a brief Zaxby's history video for you. So Dominique, can you roll that for us now?
I couldn't have dreamed this up. Never thought we'd be where we are today. When you talk about food with anybody, you evoke a certain type of emotion. When you can tap in on a flavor that you can create a craving from, you've got something. We're about more than just selling chicken. We're about creating experiences for people, giving people opportunity, helping communities. So that's the ultimate goal right there, or the overarching reason we do what we do.
Well, Zach and I grew up together. I think Zach and I first met in the 6th or 7th grade. At that time, became great friends, and even throughout high school, we also worked odd jobs together. And I knew I could rely on Zach through thick and thin. If he called and wanted me to do something, I did not want to let him down.
I actually thought since I was a young child that I was going to be a professional drummer and travel the world. And when it was time to start Zaxby's, I thought the only way I can really raise any money is to sell my drums, and I sold my drum set for $8,000. And that's when Tony said, well, I'll tell you what, I'll match your $8,000 and we'll start the first store. I moved into an apartment directly across the street from the restaurant, and it was in a condemned building. I had to convince the owner to let me move in. But I lived there because I could stand on my balcony and I could see the restaurant. I knew whatever it was going to take, I was willing to do it to make it work no matter what.
Gosh, I remember early on, they were long, hard hours put in. You know, we'd work whatever our daily functions were during the day, and then we would get in the car and show up at any one of the restaurants, make sauce till 5 in the morning, go jump in a motel room, sleep for 2 or 3 hours, get up and go the next day. Once we, I guess, had all those cogs in the wheel and it started turning, there was 20 stores, 50 stores, 100 stores, 200 stores. I think the driving force was enjoying the relationships we were creating along the way that we still have today.
It was really organic. We didn't go into business, we grew into business, one at a time. You start thinking more about how you're impacting people, how you're changing lives, how you're helping others. That becomes the true driving force behind you, building something great and leaving behind a great legacy that will continue to get better, not just better at serving chicken, but better at serving people. Our future is up to us.
What really makes me happy is seeing other people be successful. I'm happy because I helped him or her achieve their goal.
Well,
I couldn't have dreamed this up.
so more than Zaxby's being a favorite of mine, it's a favorite here at Greenleaf. We have this, Kennesaw will be our second purchase with our first location in Powder Springs, and that was purchased under the Triple Net Fund. But this Kennesaw location will be a standalone deal with a few differences that we want to highlight. Andrew, do you want to start us off by explaining the owner connection here?
Sure, I'm still stuck on college in 2000, by the way, Natalie. And then also, I on the video, I just noticed that Zach was operating the fryer. So I don't think it's 900 stores now. He hasn't operated, he's not operating a fryer anymore. So Zaxby's is going to be, it's my, believe it or not, third Zaxby's. I have a Zaxby's outside of Greenleaf and then a Zaxby's inside Greenleaf that I've done. This will be my third deal with the current franchisee. We have a Zaxby's operator who is retiring. And so he's selling out all of his Zaxby's units. This is the last one he has to sell. It's in Kennesaw. And he owns both the land and the building. And so he's actually selling us, Greenleaf, the real estate. And then our partner, Chris, who's the operator and franchisee, Chris will purchase the actual franchise license and the actual operations of the business. And we're going to help him do that business through a small loan. And we're really looking forward to it. The price is, the sale is a very tricky sale because in order to sell the Zaxby's, you have to sell the Zaxby's to the actual business. You have to sell it to a approved franchisee. And so Chris, the one who owns our other Zaxby's or operates them, is an approved Zaxby's franchisee, which is very important. So the market for selling an asset like this is small. Buying real estate, it's easy, but finding another Zaxby's operator is the hard part. And so we have both. We've got a real estate deal and a franchise deal all at one time.
Okay, so that we all understand this, because there's a lot of moving parts. So Chris is the operator that our Powder Springs location is, he's operating that location.
Correct.
And because of our relationship with Chris, he wants to buy the Kennesaw operations and partner with us again on the real estate portion. And then there's a little bit of a loan to him that makes this deal a little different.
So $100,000 of the $400,000 purchase Chris is paying, we're gonna support and help him purchase that, and he's getting a loan for the rest. And he'll also be a co-signer on the loan and also the lease.
Okay, so this is kind of proof that relationships matter, right?
Yes, yes.
And that we need to be nice to people
This
out
is
in the marketplace.
This is a relationship deal. It was never listed. Someone came to us and said, "Hey, we want to do this with you."
That's awesome.
Yes.
So Andrew, tell us a little bit more about the deal makeup.
So the deal makeup. So this is. I'll try to make these brief. I always try to promise Natalie and Dominique that we're not going to talk forever. So the deal is actually, total price is going to be a $1.9 million purchase price, which consists of $1.8 million for the real estate and a $100,000 loan to Chris. So overall deal size is $1.9 million. We are going to, at closing, write a brand new triple net lease. And just to review real quick, a triple net lease means there's no landlord responsibility. The tenant is responsible for paying the taxes, the insurance, all maintenance. Landlord's primarily responsible for just making sure the mortgage is paid, and the tenant is doing what they should be doing, like paying the taxes, making sure their insurance is in compliance, and so on. And with this particular lease, the lease will have 1% annual increases, and it's a very yearly increases are a nicer lease and a more marketable lease when we try to exit this asset. So we're already setting it up from day one to be a very marketable asset. And for those of you who don't know, I think it was March for the Goldman. I think it was March 2021. Goldman Sachs purchased a huge interest in Zaxby's, and so they have big expansion plans because, of course, Goldman Sachs wants to make money. Right now, they're at 900 units, and with the Goldman Sachs purchase, you're going to see some Zaxby's expanding in the Southeast, and I'm assuming outside the Southeast too.
All good stuff. So why do we like this particular location so much?
Why do we like this location? Well, first of all, what drives these deals? Greenleaf always focuses on buying good dirt, well-located real estate with good businesses on top of it. This dirt that this place is on, this Zaxby's is on, is ideal for the business. It's in a Kennesaw, which is a very big growth city in Metro Atlanta. It's located in Cobb County. Cobb County has had crazy growth over the past 30 years. It's gone from 450,000 residents to 760,000 residents. And it also has one of the top school systems in, I think one of the things we read, it's got 22 national blue ribbon schools in Cobb County. Some of the major employers in the area include Comcast, Lockheed Martin, the Home Depot, GE, and I'm going to pronounce this wrong. Have we figured out how to pronounce this yet? ThyssenKrupp,
Sounds good to me.
and the Weather Channel. Cobb County also recently became the home of a very, very cool stadium called the Battery, which is good old Braves go there, and it's a phenomenal place. If you haven't been to the Battery, you got to go there and go to a Braves game. The immediate location is surrounded by 60,000 residents in a 3-mile radius, which is a very, very dense location. And it's also in the middle of a primary retail corridor. And within this little corridor, there's a Walmart, a Target, a Lowe's, a Kroger, an Aldi, a Home Depot, a Tractor Supply, and many other QSR brands like McDonald's, Starbucks, Smoothie King. And then most important, what drives this business is always going to be the number of cars that drive by the business per day. And this particular Zaxby's has 30,000 cars per day driving by it.
Okay. So if you were on our last Dollar General live stream or one of our end of quarter broadcasts, you might recall our neat little tech system that we have, Placer AI. Andrew, can you tell us how this data relates to drive-through quick service restaurants like Zaxby's and how we use it here?
Well, so Placer data is really interesting. So a lot of times Placer data is a substitute for sales. So for example, for Dollar General does not disclose sales to intentionally, and their management structure is told you never release sales. So it's a policy. So how do you measure a Dollar General success? Where's your phone?
don't have it.
This is where Natalie gets creeped out, but your phone is following you around all day. That GPS data is then sold to third-party sellers. And so we are able to actually track how many feet are walking in every day into a business such as a Dollar General. So one of our recent Dollar General deals in Statesville, which some of you may already be on, has incredible foot traffic compared to other Dollar Generals. And so we know that was a good Dollar General because we don't have sales. However, with this Zaxby's, as part of this business purchase, we will get sales. So we know what sales are, and we know how the sales for this particular Zaxby's compares to all the other Zaxby's around the franchise system. So an average Zaxby's franchise, just to give you a little bit of a history, is about $2 million a year. So an average Zaxby's has gross sales of about $2 million a year. Our current operator, he operates well above that currently. And we also, for this particular unit will, we're looking at, depending on how we model it, it'll create about $2 to $2.2 million per year for sales. So this is either average or above average. And if you look at the sales chart, you can see how basically the progression since 2017 has been really great. And fortunately, unfortunately, pandemics have been great for Zaxby's because parents love their drive-through. And I think that there's crazy statistics going on right now that 65 to 75% of some of these QSR brands is actually through the drive-through now.
What does that do for profitability for these?
Oh, for profitability, it's amazing because think about this, you can operate an entire, well, a lot of these places have the dining room open, so they still have to staff the dining room, but some locations are not even opening up their dining room because they can operate on a bare minimum staff, make 75% of their revenue with 1/3 of their staff. So that's what a lot of people are doing. In fact, in Marietta, next to our DQ that we just purchased, our DQ Grill and Chill, just 2 doors down from that DQ Grill and Chill, there's a Zaxby's, and that Zaxby's has not opened their dining room because they're just
Drive-through works.
drive-through works. And like, why hire 4 more people to clean tables and bathrooms if you don't have to?
Yeah. So the data definitely supports that this is a place that we want to be.
Yes.
So now let's move on to our sales and lease comparables.
Here's the boring numbers chart. And I'm just going to try to make this very quick, but let's look at something very simple. So we'll look at a square foot cost. So we're buying the Zaxby's for $545 a square foot, which equates to an 8.4 cap, which we can get into a little bit later if we need to. The comp rates for these Zaxby's right now, or chicken concepts in Georgia right now, are $952 a square foot. So any chicken concept right now in Georgia, like Popeyes, Bojangles, we took out Chick-fil-A because Chick-fil-A sells for even higher prices than this because it's Chick-fil-A, but they're all selling for about $950 a square foot. We are buying the Zaxby's at $545 a square foot. You happy with that, Natalie?
It makes me happy.
It makes you happy.
And what does an on-market Zaxby's currently sell for?
So if we go to the next slide, these are the Zaxby's currently on the market. And so we have, it looks like there's 6 of them on there. And right now, the average Zaxby's is selling for a 6.1 cap. And don't forget, we're buying this at an 8.4 cap, and it's selling at $1,015 a square foot. And again, we're buying ours at $545 a square foot. So ours is definitely well below what we think a Zaxby's should sell for in the current marketplace right now. And again, it's because this owner who's retiring has to sell to an approved Zaxby's franchisee. So we have that unique relationship to make it all work. So do you like this one?
Forget about what I think. I think our investor spoke for us of being overraised in less than 24 hours, right?
Yes, it was a good thing and a bad thing all at the same time.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to some investment specifics. Lots of good stuff here on the screen, but Andrew, why don't you point out some of the stuff here that you'd like for us to know?
More numbers. Let's go. So the price of the actual real estate, we talked about a little bit before, is 1.8 million. And when we add the $100,000 loan in this deal, the total deal size is about 1.9 million. On that $100,000 loan, we are going to be getting interest income for the deal. And also the debt on the actual property, we have about a $1.17 million loan. We're getting great terms on that debt. It's going to be 3.5% with a 5-year term with a 25-year amortization. This debt did not exist, many years ago. In fact, 2 years ago, we were getting 5% debt. Yeah. And the equity portion of this deal is about $840,000. And just a quick note that we updated our numbers yesterday to make sure this is a little bit accurate. So our OM, if you'd like to download a new copy of our OM, it's on your investor portal. And just very quickly, our first year cash on cash return is going to be roughly 10%. And then the total returns, if you're including interest or principal payments, is about 13%. In year 5, we're estimating this will be a little bit above 10%. And then also the total returns will move up to 14.4% if you include principal payments.
So what we've all been waiting for. What about the deal level cash flow returns?
So if you look at this chart right here, if you go to the year 1 indicator, we have net cash, and the net cash actually includes the franchise loan income in year 1. That's roughly about $4,000, I believe, $4,800. And then also every year, again, remember that we get 1% rent increases every year. And so every year the rent goes up. And it doesn't seem like a lot, but a 1% annual escalation for a triple net lease, believe it or not, is a big deal in today's market, because sometimes they have a increase every 5 years, sometimes they don't, just depending on where, but it's a very big deal. So overall, if you just look at the overall investment return in this investment, we are targeting an overall deal return of roughly 21% when we sell it. So if you look at the bottom of the graph in that little square box, that is our estimated rate of return. And honestly, it's just a little slide bar there. And so, depending on where we're able to sell and what the market will tolerate, it could go a little bit up higher than the 21% or maybe a little bit lower than the 21%. But right now, if we were to buy it and sell it tomorrow, we would hope for that, if we own the asset right now, we would have some form, but that would be the target exit.
Okay. Well, great. Thank you, Andrew. This wraps up our formal presentation, and we'll pitch it over to Dominique to review some of our upcoming dates, and then we'll move into our Q&A session.
Thank you, Natalie. We certainly want to thank our hosts for sharing these Zaxby's insights with us. As we wrap this up, we just want to leave you with a friendly reminder of some upcoming dates. In terms of Zaxby's Kennesaw, your subscription agreements will become available to you by August 26th. And we ask for those as well as funds to be due by September 2nd, right before Labor Day, to prepare for closing by September 20th. On the right here, we have our upcoming Greenleaf Connect schedule. We just discussed the Zaxby's opportunity last week. We did our end of quarter reviews. Next Thursday, we will be discussing our recent government office deal, 2300 Lake Park. And then that following week on September 2nd, we will be discussing the Greenleaf investment strategy that we invite everyone to. And then for our Park Hill investors, we do have a refinance coming up. So that date and live stream will be determined for you and sent to your inbox as soon as a live stream date is identified. All right, Natalie, I will pitch it over to you and we will begin our Q&A session.
Well, thank you. And we also want to thank everyone who pre-submitted questions for us today. We want to remind you that you can continue to use the Q&A function feature at the bottom of your screen and submit those. Dominique will queue those up for us and we'll move through those as soon as we get through our pre-submitted questions. So we're going to dive right in. Andrew, you ready?
No, I'm not ready. Let's go.
Okay, so first is related to COVID. Of course, we all want to know what the story is here. So does Zaxby's have a plan to open the dining rooms back up for inside dining versus having drive-through service only? And is this the decision corporate makes, or is it up to the franchisee or owners to decide?
Well, from what I can see right now, Zaxby's leaves it up to the local regulations, because of course there's always local government regulations that drive this decision. But I've seen both. I've seen Zaxby's keep their dining room open and keep it closed. All of Chris's Zaxby's, our operator, all of his dining rooms are open. He said he did have some problems, maybe staffing for a couple of days here and there, or during the early days of COVID, but he did close his dining rooms. But honestly, he's kept his dining rooms open. And what's happened is his dining room business has gone down a little bit, and then his drive-through business has just gone crazy.
And like you spoke about earlier, is that the success of drive-through through COVID so far has been successful for the business. So if something were to happen, the drive-through component of the restaurant really saves the day here.
In our Greenleaf deal meetings, we start a conversation with, it has a drive-through. So whenever we say it has a drive-through, we know to pay attention to that deal right now, because if you look at it, people are always eating out. Zaxby's it's not an expensive place to eat, but it's also a good place to eat that a family of 4 would be happy with that. Like even mom and dad Zaxby's is good food. I really like Zaxby's. I'm a big Zaxby's fan.
Okay, so you talked to us a little bit about the franchisee loan for $100,000, but what are the loan terms, the debt for the actual purchase of the real estate?
The real estate purchase or mortgage from the bank will be a 3.5% mortgage with a 25-year amortization with a 5-year term. And we always try to negotiate some type of easy renewal terms. And so usually at 5-year mark, there'll just be an interest rate reset if we decide to refinance versus sell, and it'll be an easy refinance. And so the bank on this one is the bank we've done. This will be our 4th deal, I believe, with this bank. And so they know us, they like us, and it's very easy to close this loan.
On the loan to the franchisee, are there any personal guarantees or other loan collateral?
Well, yes, there will be a personal guarantee on the loan, and there'll also be a personal guarantee on the lease. And so the operator has done very well, and his guarantee actually means something to us. So it's significant.
And what is the financial strength of the other locations owned by this franchisee, and where would those locations be?
Currently, Chris has a location in Dallas. He has a location in Powder Springs. Both of them are doing phenomenal. They do probably 20, I'm thinking right now, doing my math in my head, about 20% above the average Zaxby's. And so he's made a good living, honestly, on 2 Zaxby's. He's also opening up 2 more in Texas right now. And then this will be his, with the 5th one, this one in Kennesaw would actually be number 5. And so he's a pretty experienced operator. He is well liked inside the Zaxby system. And, for what it's worth, I've known him since for 4 years, and he's just a good guy.
And on the financial note, I mean, you received the financials for his business, right?
Yes,
So,
unlike Dollar General, we have no idea what they're doing. I know quarterly I could request a profit and loss statement from our operator for the Zaxby's, and I know how they're doing. So I have a pretty good hint of what's going on inside their business.
great. And sometimes we all need a little reminder on triple net responsibilities. Can you tell us again what Greenleaf is responsible for and what the operator is responsible for?
Well, Mark, our operations manager, loves triple net deals. You know why he loves triple net deals?
Why?
Because there's very little for him to do. We triple net lease pushes all the maintenance to the tenant, and the tenant's responsible for paying the taxes and the insurance and being in compliance with the lease. And so honestly, Greenleaf's biggest responsibility is making sure the taxes are paid, making sure the insurance is in compliance with the lease, and also ensuring that, the business is still operational and running.
Well, those are all of our pre-submitted questions. So Dominique, did we have any additional ones come through?
Yes, we did. All right.
Are they going to be really hard?
I hope so.
Oh, get ready. All right, we did have one come through just now and a couple of others. Was this location a below average performer prior to COVID?
This location has that been a constant, I guess I would say constant increase in sales, but it has been a little bit below the when average unit Zaxby's is getting. The guy who was retiring had a portfolio of Zaxby's. And so this one, I don't want to say it was ignored, but this was the last one that he sold. COVID had a big bump, created a big bump for the Zaxby's. And Chris also has his ideas on how to improving this Zaxby's and getting the revenue beyond the 2 million. So right now, the minimum it's going to earn is about 2 million for this year, which is an average Zaxby's. And Chris and I have talked about improving visibility of the location. How do you drive more traffic to the business? And Chris knows all this stuff because he's been doing it for 20 years. So we need to put some of that, little landscaping, making it look pretty. Those trees that block signs in certain places, you got to get rid of those trees. And so there's all these little things, these little tweaks that you do to improve revenue. And so we're going to do that and hopefully make it we'll make it a $2.4 million Zaxby's.
Excellent.
Oh, and let me even tell you one more thing. We are positioning our rent as if it a very good rent for us and a very good rent for him. And so as his revenue increases, his sales are going to outpace his rent. And so he's going to be completely happy with his Zaxby's because his rent's going to be cheap. We're going to be happy because we know he's always paying rent, and we're even making good money on the rent that we're getting.
Mm-hmm.
So
we have those escalations.
And we have those escalations every year. Yeah. So it's just a win-win all around.
Perfect. Well, I think that answered one of our other questions on how is Greenleaf going to increase value on this opportunity. Unless there's anything else you want to add to that, Andrew, knowing that was a question that was just.
No, I mean, I think we talked about it before, but really these businesses, you have to make that right turn or the left turn, and that's why you're eating there. So how often, or for lunch, I guess lunch is different, but for dinner, hey, I'm stopping at Zaxby's on the way home to pick us up dinner because I don't want to cook. Isn't that what happens? So
Yes.
There it is. So if you're driving by this location in Kennesaw, please drive by and stop in a lot.
All you have to do is try the Zax sauce, and you will always go back to Zax.
Wait, you forgot the most important thing. Dave's not here to say this, but Zaxby's now has a chicken sandwich, which have you seen the commercials?
Yes.
Yes.
I see the billboards.
Yeah.
The
So,
sandwich looks amazing.
and I just tried my first Zaxby's chicken sandwich just a few weeks ago, and it is amazing. And it's literally competing with, we all know who it's competing with. Can I say it? I guess I can say it. It's competing with Chick-fil-A. Comes in the same little foil bag, very similar, only they have a spicy version and then a Zax sauce version. Phenomenal sandwich.
Well, if we're not selling the brand at this
We're making
live
you
stream,
hungry.
I don't know.
Hopefully you've eaten lunch by now. You haven't eaten lunch?
No, that's what I'm doing next.
Okay.
We do have, as we wrap this up here, we do have another question here. Does Chris have the option to purchase the real estate prior to year 5?
There will be some form of right of first refusal in the lease, which means if we decide to sell it and we get a certain price for it, Chris will have the option to buy the real estate at the price, around a market price. So yes, there will be some form of right of first refusal in there.
Excellent. Well, you can still continue to submit any questions you have. We are going to wrap this live stream up. Thank you so much for joining us today. Don't forget to check out our Greenleaf Connect YouTube channel for all of our recorded live streams, with this recording being made available by the end of the week this week. This concludes our broadcast. We certainly appreciate you joining us today, and we look forward to having you on our upcoming live streams. Thanks again, and enjoy your day.